everyone, welcome to Eve Talks It All, a general podcast talking about movies, books, television, video games, music, a little bit of everything. And today we are talking about another trope for the Masterlist of Horror. It's something that I'm carrying over from the pre-rebrand time. I did one video on the slasher trope because it's one of my absolute all-time favorites. And it's something that I like doing, and I feel like it really blends in what I actually want to do, aka talk about movies, books, TV, so on, all at once. So I thought, why not bring it over? So I thought that very appropriately, aquatic horror would be perfect to talk about during the summer, because the beach, the ocean, we associate that with summertime. So there's going to be a little bit of everything. I'm compiling everything together, so whatever you think, sharks, deep water, weird creatures, survival, people getting stranded on a boat or on a raft, whatever, survival is sort of stories, even maybe something on the island, although that's kind of like a separate trope on its own a little bit, but if I think something fits, I will include it. But yeah, without any further ado, I think we'll talk about the books first, and then I'll jump into films. I don't think there are many TV shows necessarily that talk about people stranded on water or deep sea adventures, but I will double check because it seems like I've seen something. I just need to juggle my memory, that's the word. But anyway, let's dive in. So the very first book that we have is Adrift by Paul Griffin. I read this book ages ago, I don't know, probably 8 years ago. It is, I believe, a YA, I would categorize it as YA thriller, horror about a group of teens who get stranded in the middle of the ocean. The group dynamics that we have, the two main guys, they are from not necessarily the wrong side of the tracks, but they've had to work, they've had to suffer, for the lack of a better word, in their lives, and they meet these three rich kids that are having a party on a boat, basically, and that's how they end up in the situation. So once shit kicks the fan, we then have these characters who have had everything handed to them on a silver spoon and have absolutely no survival skills and don't know what to do. And then we have characters who have survivalist instincts because they had to figure out how to survive and how to manage themselves their entire lives. And obviously then we get clashes, and then there's also some romance there as well. I don't remember much of it because it's been so long that I read it, but I remember thinking that the atmosphere of them being stranded in the middle of fucking nowhere, it's really, well, in the middle of fucking nowhere, it's the ocean, of course it was just really effective, even if some characters were a bit annoying. But that's kind of like, I mean, people get annoying when they think they're going to die and all their worst colors come out, so that's why I love survivalist stories so much. So do check this. Then we're pivoting a bit to deep waters and deep water horror, and I have Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. I don't think I was in the right headspace to read this book because I remember giving it a 4-star, but then I'm thinking the concept of this is so amazing, why didn't I give it more? But it's kind of, well, you give what you give when you read the book, but I think I would love to reread it someday and see if my ranking changes. But basically here we have kind of proof that mermaids exist because they get captured on camera, but they are very evil, and they're not like Ariel from The Little Mermaid. They just want to be part of our world. And no, they don't want to be part of our world. In fact, they kind of don't want us in their world either, and if we show up there, they are going to eat us. But the thing is, obviously, humans being humans, when this footage of the mermaids attacking a submarine gets out, they think it has to be fake, so they send a whole ass documentary crew to follow this expedition and come back with their findings. But of course, well, shit goes down. It is a chunker. I would say definitely pick it up if you're into a bit of a more of a slower build, a little bit more of again, the vibe that builds into something that's more explosive towards the end, because you're not really gonna get boom 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 from the very beginning. And it is a book that takes itself quite seriously in terms of the lore that it's trying to explore, so just know that going in. But ultimately it did happen. And then actually the last book, because I realized that I'm definitely more of an aquatic film person when it comes to knowing more about them, and I've seen more. I really want to read more water related stuff when it comes to thrillers, horror, and so on. But it seems that I really thought there would be more, but you know what, this just shows that I have a bit of a gap in my reading list when it comes to that. So definitely do let me know, like everything that I listed, that sort of stuff I like. If you can think of anything that I would enjoy, then do let me know. But of course, the last one that I have is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield, and it is a sapphic love story that's also so much more than that. We have our main character, whose wife is a marine biologist, and she goes on missions for weeks at a time, but something goes wrong and she is missing for 6 months. And just as our main character is losing hope, her wife comes back, but she's not quite the same. So we alternate with the passages of the present when shut up! When these two are back together, but things aren't quite right, and then there are past passages of the wife's time at the submarine, and all the weird, almost eldritch-y horror that happens there. So again, technically would count it as a deep sea creature-esque vibe, but yeah, like I said, I'm really looking forward to reading more. But I promise I've seen more movies, so it's not just going to be a master list and, oh, there's 10 things in here in total. I've seen more, so we'll just move down the movie list, and I'll try to categorize them, but we'll see how we go. Basically, when it comes to sharks, can't really talk about aquatic horror without them. We have Jaws, I mean, classic, duh. I don't really know why I'm mentioning it, but just in case you don't know, it's a book as well. I will be honest, I've not read the book, and I don't really have much interest in doing that, because I've heard that the film gets the point across better. So obviously, we have shark in the waters of this quaint little seaside town, and our main character, Sheriff Brody, decides that the shark needs to be taken care of because it's a danger to the whole population of the town, and hires a boat with two professionals to go and hunt the shark down. And it's a classic for a reason. Do I really need to tell people why Jaws is what it is? No. I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but I actually really enjoy the second part too. I always think that it's great fun. Especially, I would say that it probably has that little bit of a, not a slasher element, but it's more so, it feels like the stakes are higher because there's a lot of young characters as well who are trapped with the shark in the water this time around. I have seen both 3 and 4. Would I recommend those necessarily? Probably not. I barely remember them. For me, 1 and 2 are the ones that I would go back and rewatch. Again, just classic, easily understandable why that's the movie that started the whole subgenre, and why it's still a classic, even if by today's standards actually not that much happens. But again, suspense over. And another shark film I have is The Shallows from 2016, starring Blake Lively, who I personally don't love as an actress or public personality for that matter, but I think that she does a good job in this film. She plays a woman who is stranded like probably 200 meters from the shore on a rock as a great white shark attacks her, and most of the film is just her trying to reach the shore with a wounded leg, with the shark circling around her. And I think it's definitely one of the better shark films, because obviously they can get very corny, not that there's anything wrong with that necessarily, but yeah, it's again good fun, good times, and I do really enjoy it. I think I've seen it twice, and I do think that if you're looking for something that kicks the action off pretty much instantly, and then it's just constant ticking clock sort of thing, then you will like this one. If that's more your vibe than slow building suspense. Obviously, we can't talk about shark films without talking about Open Water. From 2003. It's based on a true story of Eileen Lonergan, who got stranded at sea after a scuba diving adventure of sorts, because the company that they booked it with miscounted the amount of people on the boat, and they have never been found. And this was loosely inspired by the story, featuring a married couple in the same situation. And I guess where the similarities and or inspiration ends, I shall say, is the shark, because we don't really have any proof that the real couple were attacked by a shark, but in the movie we have a great white circling around them as they're literally in the middle of nowhere, essentially waiting for death. However it may be. If it's not the shark, then it will be dehydration, it will be drowning from exhaustion, so on and so forth. Again, it is definitely a slower film. It is definitely more suspenseful. Obviously, it's very minimalistic in terms that past probably like 10-15 minute mark, it's actually just these two actors in a boat, not in a boat, in open water. They went from a boat into an open water, and you're just watching them, and it feels really intimate, like you're watching a real sort of scenario happen. And again, it is something real that's happened. I'm pretty sure I heard that the families weren't too happy that the couple's story was used for a movie, but I'm not going to get into the ethics of that. It is definitely a more well-known shark film. And if you, again, like something a bit slower that feels more like you're observing something private that you shouldn't, instead of a giant spectacle, then do check that one out. It has a sequel called Open Water 2 Adrift, which it has nothing to do with the first one, so I think they were just capitalizing on the name. And there are no sharks in this, but I'm just gonna mention it to get the franchise out of the way, if you can call it that. So this one focuses on a group of friends who are on a yacht, and they make the world's stupidest decision, kind of chain of events that leads into them being stranded right next to their yacht, but the steps to get in are taken in and they can't get on the boat. And you think this is the stupidest thing ever, but you actually see these people next to this boat and they just start dying one by one because there's nothing they can do, and things happen and fights ensue, again in water. So yeah, if you want to really be annoyed at people, fictional people, then do check this one out. We also have 47 Meters Down from 2017 that features two sisters going into a cage to observe sharks. Again, 47 meters down, as the title suggests, and things go wrong and they get stuck in this cage with the sharks trying to make their way in. Again, quite suspenseful, lots of exploration of sisterly dynamics, so a little bit of family drama there as well. And I don't remember this one massively, if I'm being honest with you, but I did enjoy it enough and I found it tense enough, so if that's your vibe, check it out. If you're looking for something that definitely doesn't take itself seriously, there's Always Deep Blue Sea from 1999 that follows a crew of scientists who are using sharks' brains to discover a cure for the Alzheimer's disease, but things go horribly wrong when the sharks take things into their own hands, because by the film's logic they had to enhance their brain capacity to extract the serum from their brains that will cure Alzheimer's. So again, suspend your disbelief, please, for the love of God. Ignore the bad CGI, ignore Samuel L. Jackson motivational speaking that lasts good 3 minutes on screen, and just enjoy the ride. This film is absolutely ridiculous, but is it entertaining as hell? Yes, and I have seen it more than a few times, and I will watch it again. It's just a good, stupid time. Then a more recent one is Dangerous Animals. So this one actually uses sharks as a tool for psychological horror in terms of serial killers. Because we have a man who is abducting women and killing them via a shark attack and filming it, and he has like a whole collection, and we see that when the film starts. He abducts a couple, well, kind of lures a couple in, I should say, via fake business, and then we switch to our main character who gets kidnapped by him, and then it is up to her to free herself before she's fed to the shark. And I thought that was actually a really creative way of using this type of horror and giving it a little bit of something extra, even if it's nothing groundbreaking in terms of acting and so on. There was like the little bit of instant love thing, which I didn't necessarily love, but pun intended. But overall, I did enjoy it. I found it tense enough, and again, keeps it in. A bit of a segue into people horror. We have Dead Calm from 1989, starring Nicole Kidman, Billy Zane. This features a couple who are trying to mend their marriage, some losses that they encountered within the family while vacationing on an open water on a yacht, and they pick up a shipwrecked guy who turns out to be not who he says he is, and things get dangerous real fast. Just be aware there is a death of an animal in this, and some questionable scenes of sexual nature. You figure that one out and check your trigger warnings. Nothing too graphic on screen, but it's still, you know, you get what I mean. So yeah, this one is definitely more oldie, classic, but the acting's amazing, and again, the atmosphere, you really feel the panic of Nicole Kidman's character once she realizes what's happening and that she can't escape. So I think that it definitely fits into the survivalist, not necessarily the elements, but the people in it trope. Then, kind of in a similar vein, we have Harpoon, where three friends get stranded because of, actually, I can't really remember exactly what happens, but I'm pretty sure that they kind of tried to get in a fight or tried to kill each other. But this goes horribly wrong, and they get stranded, and it gets really weird because they start immediately thinking about cannibalizing each other and or eating crow, literally. I remember I don't have the best association with this film because I watched it when I was really, really ill. And then I was ill while watching it, not because it was particularly gross, but just because I was feeling so unwell. And yeah, it's definitely one that showcases how nasty people can get. And I realized that I forgot to say the year. It's made in 2019. Sorry. So a fairly new one. I think that I found it while browsing some lists of films to watch, because I don't think it's necessarily very much talked about. Yeah, if you're looking for something purely exploring human nastiness and survival situations, then going into a little bit of a supernatural, can't not mention Ghost Ship from 2002. It's a classic. We have kind of sea scavengers discover an abandoned ship that has kind of been a bit of a legend, and they decide to go inside and claim all of the goodies that they might find, but once they get in there, they find out that they might not ever be able to leave. This film, people said it was like a ripoff of The Shining, and if you read Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes, it really sounds very similar concept-wise when you think about it. I'm not saying that anyone stole anything. No, it's just obviously, I feel like it is such an interesting concept that when you hear it, you will immediately jump to all examples that you can think of. This is still set on the ocean, not in space, like on open water. I would say that the film itself, like, okay, it's nothing to specifically write home about. It's like the best film ever made. It does get a bit ridiculous at a certain point, and it definitely like tries to copy certain aspects from The Shining. Again, not necessarily, not plagiarizing or anything, but just paying homages and all that. But obviously, if you've seen The Shining, then you would kind of know what to expect. That being said, the opening scene, probably one of the most effective horror opening scenes, I should say, to be grammatically correct, that I have ever seen. It literally had my jaw on the floor. I mean, not just my jaw was on the floor, if you know, you know. But yeah, I just don't think that you can talk about aquatic horror set on the water or whatever and not mention it. I don't think I have any other supernatural aquatic films here, but just let me double check. We have a bit of random alligator horror, I should say, and a film that comes to mind that I have seen, because again, I'm talking about films I've seen. We have Crawl, I believe also from 2019, starring Kaya Scodelario. God forbid I ever pronounce her name correctly, but she was in Skins and The Maze Runner, so I was interested to see what she could do. And she plays a woman whose home is flooded, like the whole town is flooded, and an alligator goes inside her home and she has to protect herself. Very survivalist, very intense, and again, suspend your disbelief, I guess, but I mean, we know that there. And then lastly, just to wrap this up, a video game that is set on the open water. A lot of it is on a ship, but still counts in this case, is Madame Medan, a Dark Pictures anthology, first pancake, so to speak, made by Supermassive Games, again released in 2019. Seems like a very aquatic year for horror, 2019. It follows a group of deep divers for fun who are looking for undiscovered wreckage sites, but they get attacked by sea pirates, and it just so turns out that they discover the abandoned legend ship Orang Medan. They don't know that it's that ship at first, though, but there's someone or something on this ship that, again, makes it really difficult for them to keep their heads on straight and navigate their way out of this mess, as well as evade these sea pirates. It is a fun game with lots of different outcomes for our characters. I would say that as far as the gameplay goes, considering that it is the first one that Supermassive Games did without Sony's backing, because obviously they partnered for Until Dawn in 2015. You can definitely see some jankiness when it comes to gameplay, but it's been patched up as much as possible in the updates. So as far as it goes, if you're just here for a bit of a good time and don't mind a little bit of a stilted dialogue once in a while as the game tries to figure its characters out, then do check this one out. And that is it. It is definitely not as extensive as my slasher list, because I definitely need to, again, dive into this subtrope a bit more and discover some things that I like or dislike about it. But I think that overall, I do have a good standing ground. I know what I like, I know what I don't like, and I'm looking forward to discovering more of it. I hope to see you next time. Bye!